The Late Night Legends podcast is meant for an adult audience only. It may contain sexually oriented content. Content may not be suitable for sensitive listeners. Please be aware of your surroundings. Listener discretion is advised. Watch out.
I see a red door. I want it painted black. No colors anymore. I want them to turn black. I see the girls walk by dressed in their summer clothes. I have to turn my head until my darkness goes. I see a line of colors and they're unpainted black.
Hello and welcome to Late Night Legends, where we're diving in and getting naughty this month with our nautical themes. Last week we had Frank's stories or tales from the Titanic, and this week we're going into the Loch Ness Monster. I'm one of your hosts, Joan. I'm joined by Kay, who will be presenting tonight, Frank and Jesse. As you can see, we have some friends off. Charlie just got back from his travels in Europe, so maybe to Loch Ness. We should have made up some lie that he was a field reporter that drowned, but we didn't. But now I did. So there we go. And then James is also off tonight. And just so you're all aware, we have some people who are going to be absent next month in August. We're going to have Frank, Jesse, and James be off. Frank's actually starting to take off next week. So bid him a farewell, everybody, for now.
Bye, Frank.
Bye, Frank. And then next week we have Allie coming on as a guest. And then the week after that, I think we have the Queen Celeste. And then after that is the Queen Mary. And I did that off the top of my head, so everyone should be proud of me.
In the Celeste episode is also the Flying Dutchman. James is doing a dual show.
Dual ships. Dueling ships. Nautical. Anyway, that's it. I ship it. That's my last joke about stuff. Frank, anything else?
Yeah, quick announcement here. I know the last few weeks we were talking about how we're hiring for our other sister podcast show. We are no longer hiring. The hiring has ceased. I won't be announcing who we hired right here, right now. But if you're interested to know, tune in tomorrow to that podcast and you'll see your new hosts. And yeah, it's going to be a party. Tomorrow night on that show, Doug is in charge of the topic and he's going to test our Urban Dictionary knowledge. So that'll be fun.
It will be something.
It's going to be something. Maybe fun is a strong word, but it'll be something.
Fun might be stronger than bullying in this case.
It'll be a podcast.
We will certainly be talking. And it will be recorded. Will it be shown after? Who knows?
Last time we did the test of Urban Dictionary knowledge, it didn't pan out.
No.
At least not good.
No.
We'll see what happens.
Yep.
Jesse, you got any announcements? Anything you want to talk about? Any places you're going to? Things you're seeing?
Well, the only thing I have, which I'll talk about next week too, is July 20th. I'm going to be up at Broadhead Manor in Wisconsin for an expo. It's called the Moonbow Expo, and what's funny is the lady putting it on, her name's Christina. She's going to be a guest for us later on in the year. So she's really cool. So I will be up at Broadhead Manor July 20th from, I believe it's 10 till 5. And then 7 p.m. until midnight is the ghost hunt with Sam Baltrusis, which Sam Baltrusis is another TV personality that I've gotten to know. He's grown up in the New England area, specifically Massachusetts, his whole life. So I can't wait to go pick his brain.
And I believe Christina will be on October 7th, yeah?
Yep.
October 7th. Tune in. It'll be a fun show and a fun month and a fun year and a fun decade and a fun century and a fun millennia. Jonah, you good?
I'm texting you.
Frank, did you want to talk about the other topic that we're doing in October?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Oh, I didn't know we were announcing those yet.
You don't have to.
Well,
We can
the
just
other
hear it.
topic, we're actually talking to Stormfrog and Paige to come on and do a follow-up on the tarot. So that's another topic we're doing in October. And then we're going to be doing, I think that on the 21st, we're doing Murder Mystery Part 2. So, if you like Murder Mystery Part 1 that we did, not to say that it was even going to be in parts, but if you like the past Murder Mystery, Kay's going to have another Murder Mystery. And this time, we'll see how I choose to kill everybody on that night.
Yeah, I was maybe it's not parts. Maybe they're more like vignettes or anthology. Like it's an anthology series where they're not all connected.
Maybe it's like Unsolved Mysteries, where it's like the same actors recreate different Unsolved Mysteries, but it's always the same cheesy actors that are in every skit. Maybe.
Speaking of which, we don't have Netflix anymore, so we go over to our friend's house and we've been watching Midnight Mass, and we had just finished The Fall of the House of Usher, so highly suggest. It's been pretty good so far.
You said Unsolved Mysteries, so that made me think of this. So I saw John Tenney the other week in Chicago, and he actually was the main person on that show. Like, he did all the research, he gave them all the information, and he was saying that when, I can't remember the host's name, but he was
Robert
sloshed. Yeah, there we go. He was sloshed all the time. He's like, there were days where we would get him on a good day and we would just change his outfits and then have him go in and have it be like a different show. And then he would go change a jacket and then we'd have him go in and we'd record like he was doing a different show. Oh, it was so funny.
Joan is not laughing.
No,
She's not finding that funny at all.
No, I was
Right?
thinking I've considered just changing shirts for this podcast. But I'm not, and I thought that would suggest that I was sloshed all the time, and then I grabbed my wine and I was like, I'm not
And then
sloshed
you had like a
all
really
the time.
serious look on your face. You're like, no, that's not me.
That's not me. That's not right. That's not me. No, I feel bad because every time I have tried to befriend Frank's wife, I just get drunk while, like, I happen to be drunk, and I will text her, and I'm like, this is not me all the time. You just happen to catch me on rare form days.
You're
It's
just
funny.
very lucky.
It's like an
Very
inbound
lucky.
text to her too. So she's like, I don't know how you caught me on this day. It's like, you texted me.
I did. Well, because that's the thing. So, like, I get, when I drink, I get very, like, chatty with, like, people. I was never that person who, like, oh, don't text your ex. But I would just text everyone I knew. And I'm like, what are you all up to? What is happening? I just want to know about your lives right now. So, I'm just fun that way.
Well, I am ready to get into it. I love the Loch Ness Monster.
Jesse's like, all right, enough about your drunk text. Let's talk about some Loch Ness Monster.
Let's
fair.
get into it. Okay, so before we kind of got started, I was interested in maybe hearing what you guys think about the Loch Ness Monster. So, Jesse, since you kind of slid us in there, if you want to talk about it.
led up to that by
Yeah.
accident. Well, the Loch Ness Monster is actually what got me pretty much into the paranormal in general. Well, I like more cryptid and there's more stuff than like the weird shit that goes on in my yard. Cool. Like I
know your yard.
I have this book called The Unexplained, and on the cover is the famous picture of the Loch Ness Monster. So me, all the different things that I've seen about it, and like it's interesting because there's times where it seems like I know there was, I think, a rumor that famous picture was actually some drunk idiots that like cut out a piece of cardboard or something, and then you got actual people that are like scientists that look at it and say that the distance away with like how tall it was would make it this many feet and all that. So like there's a lot of different aspects to it. Me personally, I think it's a time slip. I think it is a plesiosaur, and we just happen to glance it every now and then. So that's my opinion, but I do believe it's there.
Joan, Frank, do you guys want to talk about it, or do you want me to just get on into it?
Joan, go next.
I mean, I went to college in Vermont, so I'm very well versed with the cousin of Champy from Lake Champlain.
Yep.
Oh,
Yeah, so a little Champy in there. And at least if I've never been to Loch Ness, so I can't say much, but if it's anything like Champy, I don't think Champy is in Lake Champlain. But he's real cute. So I'm always down for a good mascot. So I like him as a mascot. He's not my jam, really. I think we would have discovered something, but it is interesting. And I think the faking of photography for a very long time is also very interesting. I also think it is interesting to create a monster within such smaller boundaries than like we're used to seeing. Like ocean creatures make sense, and they make sense like in the idea that like sailors were out there for a while, probably drinking some seawater, and like started seeing things, and that tracks, but not on a freshwater lake. I don't know what your excuse is right then.
yeah.
Loch Ness Monster, probably 100% fake. The famous picture, I don't think it was a time slip. That actually, the people that submitted that photo actually have come out and admitted they had faked it. So that's completely fake. I like to think that it could be real. I definitely do. But I do think it's fake. And I'm not trying to be an asshole. Y'all asked me, and I love the idea. I would really like it to be real. I want to believe, but I don't. What we got a comment over here? We got Donnell Rump, fake news.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Yeah, so I'm like right now, I think for this episode, I'm like, changed my mind. Like that guy with the coffee cup meme.
Oh, not that guy. But anyway,
I
know. No, I understand the meme.
The spirit
just
of the
not
meme, not the guy himself.
That
I don't know
guy.
anything about the guy himself.
Oh, good. Don't learn. Anyway.
Well, I kind of have some bad news for you, Frank, about changing your mind. But,
Okay.
so for me, there's a movie that came out called The Water Horse.
Oh, I remember that
Oh, I
one.
love that movie.
Got like obsessed with that movie and the Loch Ness Monster when that came out. I've watched it so many times. Me personally, I don't think the Loch Ness Monster as we know it is in there. There have been so many studies and scans and searches and everything like that. There was even a huge search last year with updated technology and they couldn't find anything. But I do think something is in the lake. Something big. So, we got a little blurb here. The Loch Ness Monster is a large marine creature believed by some to inhabit Loch Ness, Scotland. However, much of the alleged evidence supporting its existence has been discredited, and it is widely thought that the monster is a myth. The first written account appears in a 7th century biography of St. Colomba. According to that work, in 565 AD, the monster bit a swimmer and was prepared to attack another man when Colomba intervened, ordering the beast to go back.
Wow.
It obeyed, and over the centuries, only occasional sightings were reported. There wasn't much activity from that sighting to about the 1900s, and the 1900s is when it really exploded. In total, there's been about 1,100 recorded sightings. So I thought that story was kind of funny. It's kind of in the same realm of like when guys go fishing and they're like, my fish was this big.
I was just thinking, what a powerful fishing story that you can command the fish to stop biting my friend. That's not nice.
like, I just imagine him, like, putting his hands, telling the story, like, I put my hands on my hips, and I put my foot up on a barrel, and I said, go back, beast, and it did it. And all of his friends are like, oh my gosh.
He's got some Gaston vibes.
Yes. So, some of the hoaxes that have happened around this, of course, people kind of want their 15 minutes of fame, so they've kind of made some stuff up. And so in 1933, a big game hunter was commissioned to hunt the animal. A couple was driving along the road, and they claimed that this giant monster just went in front of their car. So people got together and hired this guy to come hunt it, and he found large footprints. So they brought in zoologists to look at the footprints, and the zoologists were like, every single one of these footprints is identical. That's a little weird. And they figured that they were made with an umbrella stand that had a hippo foot base.
So no left foot, right foot, just the same foot, same foot,
the same footprint. So he had this umbrella stand, and he just kind of like stamp, 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 stamp.
This is not also the first cryptid we've heard, going back to my episode a few weeks ago. Not completely, but also they did that with the Jersey Devil. Someone made like footprints out of like weird materials and walked backwards or whatever.
Yeah. I'm just wondering, like, what the rest of that person's house looked like with an elephant foot-based umbrella stand.
Does it not feel like weird 80s decor? Like
somebody like shopping at World Market.
Some illegal game hunting. I feel like that'd be like something.
Actually, he was a big game hunter. That's not good. Okay, moving on. In 1934, Robert Kenneth Wilson took the infamous Sturgeon's photograph that everybody knows. In 1994, it was revealed that the photograph was a hoax. The monster was a plastic and wooden head attached to a toy submarine. And the person that admitted it was a hoax was involved with the person who took the original photograph. So
I think it's really interesting. If I remember correctly, a lot of people who were looking at it as an analysis decided it was a hoax prior, based on the ripples in the water. And I think that was really interesting, like from a scientific standpoint of like, these ripples are too small to be created by a creature this large with nothing like underneath. So
yeah,
that's my fun fact.
Yeah. So I personally, when I got into my little Loch Ness phase, when I found out that that photograph was fake, I was shattered. I was heartbroken.
Same. Also,
when we learn not to trust anymore.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, first the Tooth Fairy, then Nessie. It's just not fair.
Yep.
So let's talk about the loch itself a little bit. So it's about 788 feet deep, 23 miles long, and it is the largest freshwater volume in the UK. It holds more water than all of the lakes in England and Wales combined. So I think that's important to kind of talk about what could be in here that we haven't found. There is something in the lake that is very large that we have evidence of. And we have done quite extensive searches, but it is a very large body of water. And just to give you an idea of how much water we're talking about, there's enough water to submerge every human on the planet 3 times plus. So that's
a lot of water.
That's an insane amount of water. So, you know, that does kind of get me thinking there's a lot of space for something to be hiding.
Well, I think there's also channels that go from the lake into the actual like ocean as well.
Yeah, it does have connections. The other thing about the water is that it has a very high peat content, making visibility nearly zero. Once you go lower than 9 meters, there's zero visibility. So
Okay, that's interesting. I did just like quickly look it up. And for our friends in the Midwest on this show, is there any lake monsters you can think of with the Great Lakes?
They do exist, but I don't know what they are. But they definitely
Okay.
do exist.
Yeah, same. I know there are some, but I can't think of what they are on the top of my head.
Because
In Lake
I just looked it
Michigan.
up because I was like, we have lakes. Someone called them Great Lakes. And like Lake Superior is the largest by volume and the deepest, larger than Scotland or South Carolina. I'm assuming that's the lake, but like Lake Superior is the world's largest freshwater lake by area. So I was just found it interesting because like I feel like that's one of the big points that people make about Loch Ness. Like it's such this large fresh body of water. And I was like, we got those too. I wonder why it's not as prevalent, these stories.
I mean, I looked it up. There's a few here. We've got like Erie Lake Chomper monster.
Yeah.
There's Lake Ontario serpents, a couple Loch Ness clones, an underwater panther.
Ooh, that's fun.
Yeah, then there's the Silver Lake serpent. A lot of serpents, but yeah, we got those.
Okay.
Those exist.
It's just interesting. I feel like Nessie just has a really good PR team as well.
That's why I think it might be more evidence that it might be fake, because a lot of times cryptids are for tourism, as was the case with Chupacabra. It's a very, very well-known tourist attractor, so people can come check out the area. But I don't know. I want to believe. Go on.
Yeah, it does bring in a lot of money to the area. I did see one statistic that they estimate in this century, Nessie has brought in about $80 billion in tourist money to the area. So they definitely want to keep that going, for sure. So knowing what we know about Loch Ness now, some of the theories, the biggest one that we see is going to be a surviving plesiosaur, a modified plesiosaur. That's going to be that traditional Nessie body, dinosaur body, with just an elongated neck and head like we've seen in the photograph. A plesiosaur could potentially survive in the loch and have enough space, but the problem is, in order for it to be seen in 500 AD and now, there would have to be multiple of them, for them to reproduce and survive that long. Some people say it's more of like a magical cryptid being that can live for thousands of years. I think that's kind of what like the water horse talks about, is they live for a little bit and then they lay one egg, and then that egg eventually hatches. And so people think that, they're kind of asexual and they just lay an egg, and that's how they've been surviving. Just lay an egg. Simple as that.
Joan, just lay an egg.
Thanks.
You're welcome.
There's the Adam, I forget his last name. He's like an artist. He created the ARG of, darn. It's like a one with the boy that hit his head. It's like a big one. They turned it into a movie. Anyway, he has one where like this woman is on this like island alone with a like think that oh my gosh, I'm losing my mind. Lighthouse. There we go. Lighthouse. And like you see her like put her mom back into the water, like a dead, or like what you assume is her dead mom, and you see her grow up, and then suddenly an egg comes and it cracks open and it's a smaller version of her, and you see on the back of her neck she has like a 4 and this egg has a 5 on it. So that's what that made me think of. But yeah. That's why I was like laughing. An egg. Just an egg.
Yep. Other ideas from locals are a kelpie or a water horse. A water horse is what Crusoe is in the movie. Somebody just wrote in and suggested that sturgeons are in the loch. There are. Mm-hmm. So that is a theory. And sturgeons do get huge. So over here where I live in Oregon, we're right next to the Columbia River, and sturgeons do get that big, for sure. They're huge. In 2018, they did a DNA test to see if they could pick up what all was living in the loch. So what's interesting about this DNA test is typically when you do it, you have to take a sample from the thing itself. But in this case, they did a little bit different. They just took samples from all over the loch and tested for what could be in there. Unfortunately, we did not see any DNA evidence of a plesiosaur or any other dinosaur. They did find a lot of eel DNA.
Nothing. I don't like eels. Fuck 'em.
You're like, and I was
eels.
like, I am an eel? What are you saying?
They're delicious fish, they are.
They are. I do love a good eel. Is very delicious. Go
Eel
on.
is delicious.
Eel's so good.
They do freak me out a little bit too. Frank, you're not alone. I don't trust anything without hands. 25...
What a stance. What a stance
It's a bold
to take.
move.
Snakes,
The word
eels,
bravery
I mean,
is tossed around in
I don't
2024.
touch anything without hands.
except like dolphins or something, they get a pass. But of that DNA, that they tested, 25% of it came back unknown. So people who are holding on to hope, here's your hope right here. They have no idea what 25% of the DNA is. So,
It sounds real contaminated. I'm not gonna lie.
yeah. Yeah. Ugh.
Yeah.
Yeah, so give you a little hope there. There are 3 modern theories. So after all of this is looked at, 3 modern theories are the sturgeon, the European catfish, and a giant eunuch eel. So for the sturgeon, like we talked about, they get very large, and they get very large. I don't really have more on that, but European catfish. Frank.
What? You're like, oh, they get very large. There ends my research. Going on. Moving on.
She just didn't have an opinion on them. They have enough hands. It's fine.
Okay, the other one that gets a pass is Herman the sturgeon. He lives in the Bonneville Dam. Over here.
Did we just dox a sturgeon?
Don't be doxing sea creatures.
He's great. I've met him. I've stood next to him. He's a good guy. Can vouch for him.
Oh, cool.
Yeah. The European catfish. The European catfish could get kind of big, but they haven't ever found one more than 12 feet long. So we're still not quite there in terms of size, because Nessie is big. Whatever Nessie is, she's big. 12 feet
Catfish
is
in
not
America can get huge, and also it's very scary to go to it's like noodle. What is it called when you fish
Yeah, when
for
you
them?
put your toe in their little burrow
You
and they
put your-
bite their...
You put your hand in.
You could do your toe or your hand. You
I
can
wouldn't do
noodle
my
either way.
toe.
You could
Well, they can
noodle with
bite
your
off
doodle
your-
if you wanted to.
Ew, no. They bite stuff off. It's
You're gonna
very
lose your
dangerous, doodle.
Listen, you could do whatever you want. It's the United States.
In fairness, though, catfish is also delicious.
I
love
would disagree.
fried
I don't like how they
catfish.
taste. They taste gross.
You don't
They taste like
fried
mud. What do you
catfish.
want from me?
clean the catfish.
Listen,
do
I
you
don't
not
cook
clean
them,
your
I
fish
eat
before you
them.
eat them?
Someone else has cooked them for me, and I have not liked them. And it's been more than one person, and they taste like dirt to me.
Have you gone to like Louisiana and had them?
No, I have gone to someone that said, "Hey, here's some catfish. Put it in your mouth," and I'm like, "All right, cool."
Did
I
they
don't like how it
wash
tastes.
it?
It was washed and fried and everything.
They take it from the mud hole and then shove it in your mouth. That might be
They don't
why it
even cook
tasted
it.
bad.
I noodle the catfish. It noodles me back. Whatever.
Ew.
I'm sorry, guys. I'm a little bit wacky tonight.
Ugh.
I'm not feeling good. Just gonna cut myself out of this podcast.
He's taking. He wants us to really understand why he's going on break right after.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah. I'm sorry to bring down
Frankie.
your actual very serious research, Kimberly.
This is very serious.
I know it's of the utmost seriousness.
Yes.
Our sponsor tonight is Tourism for Scotland. This is serious.
You better not be making affiliate deals behind my back.
Yeah, with the whole
If
country.
anybody's going to be profiting from this non-profit podcast, it better be me.
Scotland and I we've been on the phone
Okay.
talking.
Okay. Scott.
Okay, anyways. The other one is the giant eunuch eel. Now,
Google that.
okay, here's the thing. This got
Speaking of
me,
noodles.
and then I figured it out.
Okay.
So, a eunuch eel is not a type of eel. It's a different type of eel that is a eunuch.
I've seen
Yes.
that before.
And
Okay.
this is a theory that they have no evidence per se that a eunuch eel exists. But what it is a species of any eel that is very large, and they're born a eunuch, so they don't sexually reproduce. They don't have the urge to reproduce. They're born without the parts they need to reproduce. And while other eels make their little migration to their breeding grounds, these eels stay where they are, happy, content, and they eat food and they get really big.
And
Which
they
sounds
lay an
like
egg.
well, maybe. I don't know.
They just lay an egg, and then that's how you get new ones.
No, they can't. That's not what
I thought-
literally a eunuch
I'm just-
cannot.
I'm making a joke based on the egg thing we talked about.
I
earlier.
got it. No,
Okay.
I got it.
Oh,
I was
thanks,
gonna
Joe.
say they don't like sit in prayer like other eunuchs tend to do.
Well, they can't. They don't have hands.
Oh, no!
Oh, they're trustworthy.
They don't have hands.
They are trustworthy eels because they have no hands.
No, I said I don't trust.
Don't trust things
things.
that don't have hands.
Yes.
Oh shit! All right. Well, I put a poll up in the Discord. Do you trust eels? Yes or no? Make sure you vote on your way out tonight.
It's okay.
Oh my god.
Okay, so
Jesse's
these
like,
eels
"Fuck this."
Yeah.
don't reproduce, so they
Got
just
it.
stay at home and eat
Got it.
food and get big and chubby, and they don't have to worry about them kids. So sounds like
Something
Good.
something marriage something
Good to
something.
yeah. I want to be a eunuch eel.
Same.
Yes. There's no evidence that these exist, but they think that they could. And so this giant eel that the largest documented that they found is 12 feet long. In theory, there could be a eunuch eel of the same size or the same type that is much larger, much longer, that could be Nessie size.
Okay.
And eels are, they're skinny. They got skinny, long bodies, no arms, no hands. That's important. They could hide in little holes and crevices and things like that.
They do often hide in little holes at the aquariums.
They're in
They
hidey
do.
holes.
They
Yeah.
do. They like hidey holes.
They
So
do.
that would kind of help with how many times the loch has been searched and digital imaged and all of these different things. They could just be hanging out.
They could think they're a log with their little hidey holes.
Yeah.
Yes, that's true.
Though I'm sure they have like temperature seeking stuff. Actually, I don't know. But they
Heat
do have
seeking.
it.
They did.
Yeah.
Yes. The other theory that people have is there are underwater waves called I don't know how to pronounce this. Internal seiches? Seiches? I don't know.
It's guttural.
Real German. Like a real German.
Where surface winds push the warmer upper layer out of place. So if you have like your deep cold layer and your warm upper layer that's thinner, it pushes it out of place and then pulls the denser layer. And then when this goes back into place, this goes back into place and pushes this. That's kind of how it works. And so when it swings back, it creates waves in the denser cold water layer, and that makes pushes, And it can even push things like large logs. So people have seen large logs just going with a wake and everything, just swimming because of this phenomenon that happens. So Nessie, things that people have seen and reported as a Nessie sighting, it could just be a log just swimming really weird. Yeah. The last theory, which has also been disproven, it's very recently popular within the last couple of years, and they've disproven it, is male whale genitalia.
MWG, let's go.
So we go from no genitalia to only genitalia.
Yes.
Got
Whale
it.
genitalia.
So, fun fact about whales, the birds and the whales talk, is they mate in groups of 3 or larger.
Ooh, yeah.
Because they're big and they have trouble getting around, so sometimes the third one will like help the other one do what it needs to do.
Yeah, me too.
No, stop.
I'm kidding. Come on. I'm just gonna mute myself.
And then while one male and the lady are doing their thing, sometimes the other male, he's like, oh, you guys are good without me. And he'll flip on his back and hang his little thing up in the air. And they are 10 foot long. And they kind of have like a little crook at the end, like Nessie, like the Nessie photo. So it became...
Oh boy, this is going to be fuel for the other podcast for Frank now.
I'm too immature for this, Kimberly. I'm sorry. So you're saying that there's a good chance that if you see Nessie, it might be just whale junk. Is that where you're going with this?
So that was
It's been
a theory.
disproven.
It's been disproven because there are no whales in Loch Ness. So it
But if you
can't
go
be.
to the ocean,
And you see Nessie in the ocean. It's not Nessie. It's just a whale ding dong. Ding-a-ling.
Male whale genitalia, MWG, everybody.
yep. Don't.
Oh,
No.
Jesus.
I don't even want to
I'm
look
sorry,
at the
Jessie.
chat right now.
We were far more serious when I was trying to take things seriously, so I apologize. This is 100% on me. I may
Okay.
have put a Mario
Yeah.
64 picture in the Discord as well.
We've gotten the whales and the bees out of the way, so we can
We have.
talk about more serious things now. Focus back up. Okay, stories. 10 months ago, hundreds of people gathered for the largest Nessie search in 50 years, using underwater audio technology and thermal imaging drones. So, hundreds of people, I think it was like 10 days long or something, they were out in boats. They had their little, what are those called?
Infrared goggles?
No. They're not infrared.
Telescope or
They're just normal.
telescopic lenses?
Binoculars.
Binoculars.
Oh,
Sonar receptors.
They have their little binoculars. They're searching. They're putting microphones down in the water. They're projecting different sounds. And then the most important thing, because, visibility is so low, they're sending up drones to scan the surface and see if they can, get any hits on thermal imaging. They didn't find anything, unfortunately. They did record some sounds that they had never heard from the loch before, but nothing that you can really hold on to and say Nessie is real.
I don't mean to dunk on them, but I feel like if you have the most people in one place at all of a sudden, and all of a sudden there's sounds you've never heard before, maybe it's the influx of people that are there.
Yeah. Well, and I know if you're trying to conduct the biggest search in 50 years, they had a ton of people out on the loch in boats, and they're driving around making a lot of noise, and it's like if anything is in there, you're probably scaring it away.
I also like to think that like a bunch of people with the microphones were just doing those like bad man on the street interviews, but with Loch Ness. Like they're just asking a question and throwing their microphones in the water. Just like, can we get a soundbite for the podcast? For the podcast?
For the podcast? Ugh.
Frank's thinking about it now.
I'm trying to shut up. I'm too immature for this topic tonight.
We're talking about podcasting.
Yeah, I know.
That's what we're doing. You can
I
talk
know.
about podcasting.
It's just holding it together as best he can over there.
Yeah.
So strong.
You know what it is.
There is an official Loch Ness Monster Sightings Register that if you see Nessie, you can sign up for. It is created and kept by Gary Campbell. It started in 1996 when he saw a black shiny hump come out of the water twice and realized there was nowhere to document his experience. So that's fun. If you see Nessie, you can write it down. There's been 6 sightings recorded in 2021 and 4 in 2022. So people are still seeing Nessie today.
That's cool.
Nice.
Now, the interesting thing to me is sonar contacts have been made by the cruise Loch Ness boat. So they do have a boat that you can rent for charters to take around the loch. And while they're going around, especially at one point towards the very end, they have sonar equipment on the boat, and it has made several large contacts, including one the size of a transit van. Which everything we kind of talked about, exactly, everything we talked about, the size of a transit van, that means it's long and it's wide. It's big boy.
It's a
Big boy.
Not a whale.
Not a whale. Not a little baby. Not little whale. Big boy.
Frank, I'm trying to hold it together.
Hey,
Okay.
hey, I'm not even doing anything. I'm just over here. I'm just trying to podcast, okay?
Not speaking is the best way to podcast. I did hear that. I did see that. He's so
Sorry.
angry at me
Sorry
right
about
now.
your topic. You don't have to put up with me for a month, so there's that.
Oh my god.
But yeah, so there's something very large in Loch Ness that they have they have had sonar evidence of multiple times. We don't know what it is. It's probably not a plesiosaur, but that is something. So kind of as we talked about in the beginning of the show, I don't necessarily believe that there's a big plesiosaur style dinosaur, but I do believe that there's something very large in Loch Ness.
That is very interesting. And I know, Jesse, that you had mentioned that there was a theory that I don't think Kay brought up about like a time slip. Do you want to tell us about that?
That's I couldn't like quote where I've heard that, but that's my personal like theory, I guess. I actually do know somebody that has seen a legit pterodactyl out in Massachusetts. So like I know this person. So that's also a possibility. Like if you bring in the Thunderbird thing, like people will see pterodactyls, and there was this footage of it that just like disappeared. That would make sense to me. Like, well, why can't we see them all the time? Or why is it only every now and then for X amount of seconds or minutes? To me, a time slip would make sense in a way. Same with like the theory of sometimes there's theories that ghosts are little time slips as well. Like you see some Civil War soldiers and it's actually not that person's, spirit. It's just like a time slip where you see it for a split second. So that's like a running theory, like in the paranormal community. I think the past couple years I've heard of it, and that's my personal theory of what I think Nessie is. I think it exists. I think it's a plesiosaur. I can never say the word, but I don't think it's there all the time.
I think that's very interesting. I went up and I took a quick Google search here, and I think I got something here. So it says, the time slip theory regarding the Loch Ness Monster suggests that the sightings of the creature, often described as a plesiosaur, might be the result of time travel rather than the presence of ancient species that somehow survived extinction. This theory poses that the Loch Ness Monster could be a creature from the Cretaceous period that periodically appears in modern time through a temporal anomaly. One proponent of this idea is physicist Dr. John Brandenburg, who theorizes that the high concentration of quartz in Loch Ness could generate significant electromagnetic fields, potentially opening the time portal. This portal might allow the Plesiosaur to move back and forth between its original time and the present, explaining the sporadic nature of sightings and the lack of consistent evidence for the existence in modern times. Source: Discover Magazine, C.R. Barry.
Yep, pretty much.
I like the idea of a dinosaur Doctor Who, basically. And I just thought of it with like the little cap. That sometimes Doctor Who, what is that called? The Turkish hat, whatever. That little one.
Fez?
That
Is it a
Matt
fez?
Smith's doctor says. Yeah.
It's a fez. It's a
It's a
fez.
fez. Fezes are cool. That's what Matt Smith's character says.
You're trying to bring up Austin Powers for that's what kind of hat it was? Is that what you said? Like Dr. Evil?
No, Matt Smith.
Oh. I
Who
was like,
played
what?
the 12th Doctor?
I've never seen Doctor Who. Everybody's mad at me for it.
Me either. I've never seen it either.
I've only seen the reboot and then up to like halfway through Matt Smith, so I shouldn't say too much. But I do remember that, and it just makes me giggle. Okay, what's your stance on Doctor Who?
I have never seen it.
Her stance is Doctor Who
okay.
the hell cares.
Steve has literally said that before.
Yeah. That's why
Oh,
Steve's
that's
my
funny.
favorite. Steve is my favorite Steve.
Oh, that's sweet.
Right? Right?
I do really love the idea of there being something that is not supernatural in the loch. It's something that occurs normally on Earth. It's just supersized. I love the idea of animals in the water, not on land, because land animals can get to me. I don't go in the water.
Fuck those animals.
I am obsessed with water animals growing way larger than they're supposed to be. For example, the megalodon. I would love it if a shark just came to the surface one day and was like the length of a football field or larger. So
That'd be awesome. That'd be really
Yeah.
cool. I wish a shark would just swallow like New Jersey, just like one of the coastal states.
Well, I mean, they did discover that the giant squid is actually real.
Yeah.
How, like, there were so many years, they're like, oh, that's a conspiracy theory. It doesn't
yeah, no,
exist.
giant squids
blah,
are
blah,
definitely
blah.
real.
And now it's proven the giant squids are real.
yeah, for sure. But I want to see a giant squid that's like 300 feet long.
Right?
That's what I
that'd
wanna
be
see.
awesome.
We still haven't
Kraken.
really like explored the Mariana Trench, which is the lowest point in the ocean on Earth, and even the movie The Megalodon on Netflix likes to theorize that that's where all of the giant creatures live, is in the Mariana Trench.
That would make sense.
I don't think that I
The
think,
animals would have to be smaller.
yeah,
There's too
because
much
of the
pressure.
because of water pressure. Exactly.
Yeah.
I know. Listen, I'm just saying that's what Hollywood
Science.
says. Okay.
I do not like when they show you like the crabs that live in the deep sea and like how their like legs are too long. That hurts my
Oh,
feelings.
I hate those crabs
The
so
spider
much.
crabs, they're like Japanese ones that are.
No, those are on
frickin'
land
huge.
and they're also awful. I hate them for different reasons, but there's like ones in the ocean where they have like 10-foot long
Coconut
like,
crabs
feet.
are
Yeah.
the best.
That's dinner for me.
Oh. No, I don't know.
You guys got to
I'm
check out some
scared.
coconut crab action if you want to see some scary crabs.
I
No.
don't. Yeah, no, I
No.
don't. I don't want to.
Google it.
They
I
did
don't
my
want
homie
to.
Amelia wrong.
Amelia Earhart.
Yeah, they ate her.
Eh,
Yeah,
there's a lot of
They
things
done
that
ate her.
could have eaten her. Could have
it's
been.
most likely the crabs. And no, Frank, put that back.
Yeah.
Put that thought back where you got
was
it from.
waiting
Put
for
it
it.
back on the top shelf.
What are you talking about?
I'm not talking about pubic lice. I am talking about literal crustaceans.
Excuse me.
Oh,
I also
boy.
was not talking nor thinking about pubic lice. Excuse
You
me.
definitely were. We all know that
No.
face.
What do you take me for?
A child.
Quit.
A literal child.
No. I was taking this topic very seriously. I want to know what's the size of a transit van in the Loch Ness. I want to know what that is.
It's a transit van, like a bus.
Yeah. Do
Yeah.
you think somebody sank their
Yeah.
bus in there? They're like, "You're gonna fool the sonar tonight. Let's drive the fucking transit van into the
It
Loch
was the
Ness."
same guy who told the Loch Ness to go home.
Well, no,
You're not
that's the
welcome
thing. So
here.
if it was a bus that was just chilling down there, it would be in the same spot consistently, or move maybe a little bit
Not
every
if
now
the
and
eels
then.
found out how to drive it.
Great point. They can't drive it. They don't have hands.
They are the steering wheel.
Untrustworthy.
Frank, do you
my
even know
God.
what sonar is? Are you familiar?
Not only
with
do I know what sonar is, I have sonar playing for the Nautical Month for the little animation that I did.
No,
sonar
have
is
you
when
ever-
you use sonar is when you use sound to search underwater. You send out a sound, and the echo that you get back appears on a radar.
Frank, are you a dummy? Do you not know what sonar is? Is what Kay meant to ask.
But have you ever looked at like a sonar screen while on a boat?
Yeah, I have.
Yeah. If it was a bus, it would just be like a
It would just
bump
say
on the
bump.
ocean floor.
I know that. I know that part.
Frank,
I want to
why
know what
would
that
you
is.
ask?
I want to know. Listen, I'm fixing to find out what's in. Listen. If you saw that movie Twister, I want to get like a contraption to go under the Loch Ness, like the movie Twister, and find Loch Ness with Bill Paxton.
Kay's like, there are no dumb questions except for that one.
That one.
That was a stupid question. Do you know what sonar is? Or are you a dumb?
Everybody knows what sonar is, Frank.
Frank,
I definitely know what sonar
Frank.
is too. I don't know why that came into question.
Frank, didn't
Oh
you
my
learn
God.
anything from World War II studies?
Oh,
Jeez.
let me tell you what I didn't learn.
Oh my God.
How big a transit
Wouldn't
van
that be
was.
hilarious if I told you what I didn't learn? Because I would have learned it if I knew what to say.
Oh, that's the joke. That's the joke. Why did you become more Midwest?
Is this because I told everybody that I wish a shark would swallow New Jersey? Is that why you're giving me this
No,
shit right now?
Kay's the one who's saying, "Do you not know sonar is?" I'm laughing. No, it's because you said our bagels were trash.
They
and
are.
now we're actually in a fight.
Stop pretending to be New York.
No, we share bagel custody.
No, you don't.
We use
Oh
their
you
my
water.
God.
You wish you did. You guys are gonna watch Joan jump across the screen and strangle me.
I'm like looking online. You're like, "What are you doing?" I'm like, buying a fucking plane ticket. I'll see you tomorrow.
She's got like plane tickets in one tab, and she's got a harpoon gun in the other hand, and it's only
This
harpoon gun
man
because we're doing
forgets that
Nautical Month.
This man forget he sent me a thank you letter, so I know his address.
It's also on the release that Justin just signed and emailed over to us during this episode.
Bubba, book some tickets. We're going to Chicago. Actually, I have a friend in Chicago. I'll just send her to your doorstep.
Hey, that's cool.
Right.
that's fine. I'll ask her if she knows what sonar is.
Definitely does. What's even worse is she's a teacher in
Oh my
Chicago.
God.
She's what?
She's gonna be like, "What's wrong with the school system here?"
Oh man, what's not wrong with the
teacher.
school system in Chicago? There's so many things wrong with the school system here.
Yeah, there's some good things about it.
No, there's not.
The teacher
there's
union's
not.
pretty good there.
Are they though?
Yeah. Oh. Well, that's okay. We'll talk about that later. Anyway,
All right,
we won't
guys.
get into that specifically.
Sorry, I'll let you down on the seriousness factor in this podcast.
Are we supposed to be serious? I
don't
did
know.
think we were.
I don't know. Listen, so here's what I will say. I don't think the Loch Ness was real, but now that I know that there's a time slip theory, I want to subscribe to that one now, so I'm on that train now.
You have to hit subscribe and then pay into
I'm going to
the
vote for the
Patreon for it
temporal displacement Loch Ness theory in the polls in November.
in November. Good.
You got it.
I believe Nessie actually gets presidential votes every year. I can't remember how many it is, but that has come up.
She's probably got a
That's
lot of those
awesome.
electoral votes, you know what I'm saying?
I don't think Scotland has the electoral college.
They
Okay.
totally do.
Do you know what sonar is?
Do you know what sonar is? Do
I
you know what a bagel is?
I do.
Oh, Jesus.
Are you sure about that? All right.
Oh my God.
I think we got to stick a fork in this one, guys.
I'm gonna change the passwords to everything while you're gone.
Hey, listen. You're probably doing me a big favor if I can't log in, to be honest.
It'll be like bagels are from Jersey.
I don't want to
Stuck it.
I don't want to do any of this work. Just let Joan do it. Go ahead.
So not everyone knows sonar here. 1, 2, 3 password will be the new password.
Oh, Jesus.
Oh God. Do you know sonar can't pick up bagels because of the hole in the middle?
Oh, geez.
He's debating if he believes me or not.
It's just a bump on the radar, Joan. Hole or
And then
no
there's
hole.
no bumps, and then there's another bump. It's very confusing. No one knows. Donuts and bagels, they can't pick up on sonar.
Oh, boy.
You know what a bagel is. Anyway, guys, we should have some final thoughts before Joan sends her friend to kill me. Yes? Yes? No? No final thoughts?
No, we're done. Okay.
Well, I mean,
Um,
obviously, I'll go with mine.
Yeah.
What I already originally said was I do believe that Loch Ness Monster exists, but there's a lot that we do not understand with our own reality. So, for all we know, it is just a little time slip every now and then, and we are seeing a Plesiosaur. I can never say the word. Oh, God.
My final thought is I believe in Loch Ness as much as I believe that Frank knows what sonar is.
I
Oh, boy.
I am concerned about some of the content that could be pulled from me this show.
It's a good thing that Charlie's off. It's a good thing that Charlie's not going to be...
Not concerned about Charlie.
Listen,
Charlie was not my first thought.
for what it's worth, I've never done anyone dirty in editing. And actually...
I'm not concerned about you, Frank.
Oh, okay.
There is a particular person that has made content about me before.
Who's made
Anyways,
content that was not
know
me and Charlie?
exactly
You know.
Who was
Think
it?
about
Who done
think
it?
about
Uh-oh.
think about everyone in the Discord.
Who's done it?
Think about everyone in the
I know what she's
Discord.
talking about. I'm not stupid.
Okay.
Are you?
It's me.
I'm so
It's
sorry.
me. She's talking about me.
Well,
I have a private
he's got to
file
watch
I
the show
put
to
up.
be able to make content from it, which I don't think he's done. Yep. Donell Rump named that person correctly, kind of. There's a typo though.
I think that it could be an eel in a little hidey hole. And don't trust anything without hands. Eels can't drive buses. Frank.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
I'm the last one to go. Everybody give their final thoughts. Joan, you got a final thought? Jesse?
I told you it.
Oh, you got? Okay. Thank you for tuning in. Thank you for telling a friend. Thank you for not... thank you for having hands and being trustworthy. We will see you all next week. We have our... next week is our guest, right? Allie? Yes?
Yeah, Allie.
Next week?
Yep.
Yep. Jesse's going to drive the submarine for that episode. It won't be nautical, though. So it's probably actually a bus. She'll be driving the bus. Who's driving this bus? What? What was that, Jones?
We're still diving into different content. That's what we're doing.
Yeah. And then, I'll see y'all next month. And I hope you guys take care of the show. What could go wrong?
Technically in kind of 2 months, Frank, because we got the rest of July and August.
What could go wrong? Have a good night, everybody.
Everything.
Take care of yourselves.
Everything.
Say hi to your mom. And
Say hi to
everything.
Frank's
Good
mom.
night.
Bye.
Bye.